On their anniversary, Millionaire reveals incredible secret, his secretary expecting his child. The headline splashed across every gossip column, buzzed at every corner cafe, and sent shockwaves through the heart of the tight-knit Midwest community. Ethan Brooks, a self-made millionaire, stood frozen in the spotlight, trapped in a web of his own making. As their 25th wedding anniversary approached, he couldn't shake the gnawing anxiety clawing at his insides. Laura, his beautiful wife, the star of their charity so radiant, so full of life, had no idea the darkness lurking in the shadows of their seemingly perfect marriage. Ethan watched Laura from across their bustling living room. She spoke animatedly about the upcoming gala, her eyes shining with the kind of hope that warmed the coldest of hearts. He couldn't help but smile, yet inside, his chest tightened. Here she was, blissfully unaware that their lives were teetering on the brink of disaster. They had built a marriage that many envied, but Ethan's affair with Mia, his secretary, hung over him like a storm cloud ready to burst. His heart sank at the thought of their unborn child, a reminder of his moment of weakness when he felt eclipsed by Laura's unwavering support for their community. As people gathered for the charity project reveal, the city buzzed with excitement. Children laughed, neighbors shared stories, and hope lingered in the air, yet Ethan felt suffocated. Every joyful cheer felt like a taunt, reminding him of the secret that could shatter his world. They were about to reveal plans for a new community center, something that could change lives. How could he focus on that when his heart was torn in two? Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. As the gala unfolded, the waiters glided through the crowd, offering champagne, laughter bubbling like the drinks in their hands. And then it happened, a mix-up. A misplaced folder, a comment made in passing, and just like that, the truth tore free from the shadows. Gas echoed through the room like thunder, rippling through the crowd. Eyes turned to Ethan, piercing him with the weight of judgment, whispers swirling like a tornado. Panic surged through him, his life was about to unravel. Standing beside Laura, he saw her face transform, her joy quickly evaporating into disbelief and betrayal. When she demanded honesty, her voice trembled, cutting through the noise like a knife. The weight of her disappointment bore down on him, suffocating. This was love, wasn't it? How had he shattered it so easily? In that moment, every ounce of his existence crumbled. The dazzling lights of the gala dimmed, replaced by a harsh spotlight that illuminated his flaws. He was left standing at the edge, teetering on a precipice of heartbreak and regret. What would tomorrow hold? Would they survive, or was this the end of everything they had built? As he searched Laura's eyes, a question lingered in the air, heavy with uncertainty. Would love triumph over betrayal, or would their once perfect world shatter into oblivion? Ethan felt the room closing in around him, the laughter now a distant echo that seemed to mock his broken heart. Laura's bewildered gaze pierced him deeper than any criticism. The warmth they had built, the memories they cherished, now felt like ashes in his throat. Ethan. Laura's voice rose above the whispers, sharp and accusing. Is this true? You have to tell me. He opened his mouth to answer, but the words lodged in his throat. How could he explain? He felt like a child caught with his hand in the cookie jar, scared of the punishment but also of the lost trust. Laura, I. The tears in her eyes struck him like a punch. He had never seen her like this, her face crumpled in disbelief. How could you do this to us? She searched his face for answers, but he had none to offer. The truth was a monster he had created, and now it was terrifying them both. Around them, the guests shifted uncomfortably, their smiles replaced by expressions of shock and pity. The anticipation for the Gala's charitable announcement faded, replaced by an air thick with tension. Ethan felt the weight of their stares. They were on the outside of a storm he had unleashed within his own home. No. This isn't how it was supposed to be, he thought desperately. But he knew there was no escaping the reality of his choices. The community center plans, dreams he had once envisioned alongside Laura, were slipping through his fingers like sand, lost in a mess of regret and inadequacy. He reached out to Laura, instinctively trying to bridge the painful distance between them. "I made a mistake, a terrible mistake," he stammered, his voice barely above a whisper. "But it doesn't change how I feel about you." She recoiled, the anger overshadowing her hurt. "How can you even say that? You've betrayed everything we built together. You're going to be a father to someone else's child." The words cut deeper than any knife. Every syllable echoed, trapping him in a cage of guilt. "I never meant for any of this to happen. I love you, Laura. You're my life." The desperation in his voice was palpable. But would it matter? Ethan searched the room again, seeking refuge in familiar faces, but all he found were expressions of judgment. He felt as if he had plunged into deep water, struggling to break the surface while the turbulence threatened to pull him under. Then, in a moment of clarity, he realized something: he needed to make a choice. Not just a choice between Laura and Mia, but a choice about who he wanted to be. "Laura, just give me a chance to explain, please," he said, his heart racing. "Let me show you how much you mean to me. I'll fight for us." But Laura's eyes were hard, and he knew he had to accept that she might not want his fight. The silence stretched thin, more painful than the confrontation itself. What if this was the moment that defined everything? Would she walk away, or could they find a way back to each other? Facing the possibility of losing the love of his life sent fresh waves of panic through him. He had to make things right, but how? As he looked into Laura's eyes, a deep question blossomed inside him: was it too late to mend what he had broken, or could they face the storm together? And just as he braced for her reply, the Gala doors flung open. Someone entered, breathing heavily, their face lit with urgency. The room turned, eyes widening in anticipation of the next unfolding drama. What news could possibly change the course of the evening now? The murmurs in the room rippled through the crowd like a wave. All eyes shifted toward the entrance, where Anna stood, panting slightly as if she'd run a marathon. Her eyes darted around, catching sight of Ethan and Laura, the tension palpable in the air. "Ethan!" she exclaimed, her voice shaky, but full of urgency. "You need to come with me. Right now." The abruptness of her call startled everyone. Ethan exchanged a quick glance with Laura, whose expression twisted from pain to confusion. She hadn't expected this. "What is it?" he asked, pushing through the crowd toward Anna, his heart racing. He could feel the eyes of their guests on him, men and women who were supposed to be celebrating their charitable effort, now witnessing this personal chaos. "It's about the project, it's important," Anna replied, her face pale and serious. "There's been a major issue." Ethan reluctantly turned back to Laura. He searched for any sign of understanding in her eyes, any indication that she might still be willing to talk. But the hurt was there, sharp and raw. "I need a minute. Please," he pleaded. But Laura stood frozen, her lips pressed tightly together, the storm of emotion swirling within her evident in each breath she took. Before he could weigh his next words, Anna grabbed his arm, pulling him gently but insistently toward the side exit. "They're waiting," she urged, glancing back at Laura, her expression a mix of concern and regret. As they stepped outside into the cool night air, Ethan felt the weight of the world lift just slightly, but it was replaced with a different tension, the fear of what he would find out. "Tell me what happened," he said, keeping his voice steady as he focused on Anna. "A donor pulled out for the community center funding," she said, her brow furrowed as they moved toward a quieter area away from prying ears. "It's bad, Ethan. If we don't secure more funding by tomorrow, the project is dead. And I think I know why he backed out." Ethan paused, dread settling in his stomach. "Why?" "It's linked back to the gala tonight, to the rumors spreading. The board is panicking, everyone is talking about you and what has been happening with," he interrupted her, feeling a rush of desperation. "But I can fix this. I'll talk to the board, explain everything." "We can know, Ethan," she interrupted softly but firmly. "This isn't about that. If you don't act now, well, it's not just the project. Your reputation is at stake." His thoughts raced. How had everything spiraled so out of control? The community center meant everything to him and Laura. "Wait, Anna. If this is all happening because of me, I can't let it ruin everything. I want tea. You need to give me some time to fix things." "Time?" she echoed, frustration flaring in her eyes. "You don't have time. What about Laura? She deserves to know everything. If you don't come clean at the gala, it might destroy you both." He cursed under his breath. The confusion, pressure, and remorse from earlier all crashed back into him. Would the truth only make things worse? An image of Laura's tear-stained face flashed in his mind. Ahead of them, the gala doors stayed ajar, the sounds of whispered speculation filtering through. His heart sank at the thought of returning to face Laura again, yet he realized he had to confront the storm inside and outside of him. Could he salvage their relationship while saving the community center? Was it even possible to face the truth without tearing everything apart? As he battled these questions, he felt a sudden shift in the air, a cold thrill of urgency that wouldn't leave him. "Ethan," Anna said, her voice cutting through his thoughts. "You need to decide, right now, who you want to be." And with that, he took a deep breath, ready to step back into the chaos. But just before he could take a step forward, another figure burst through the doors, a woman with fiery determination in her eyes, desperate to share yet another piece of news that could change everything. Ethan's breath caught in his throat as the woman approached, her heel clicking sharply against the polished floor. He recognized her immediately, Maya, the communications director for the fundraiser. Her hair was disheveled, and her eyes blazed with an urgency he hadn't seen before. "Ethan," she called, her voice cutting through the murmurs that still clung to the air from the gala. "You need to hear this." The intensity in her gaze made him uneasy. He glanced at Anna, who merely shook her head, urging him to stay put. But those piercing eyes would not let him ignore her. "What is it?" he asked, trying to keep his voice steady as dread clawed at his insides. "Well, it's about that donor who pulled out," she began, her words tumbling out faster than he could absorb them. "You want to believe why? He has a personal connection to your name. A bad one. He is tied up in some scandal that is rocking the board," and Maya hesitated, glancing toward the gala doors, as if the very walls held ears. "They think you're involved." His heart raced. "Involved in what? What are you talking about?" Maya leaned closer, an intensity that turned his stomach. "A year ago, he was embroiled in a lawsuit about inappropriate behavior involving a former employee. And now they're drawing links to you because of all the rumors flying around. They think you might have had something to do with it, and it's jeopardizing everything." A wave of nausea washed over him. The very thought was enough to make him pale. "That's insane. I have nothing to do with any of that." "I know. But that doesn't matter. What matters is the perception. If you don't clear the air now tonight, this will follow you for years, Ethan. He rubbed the back of his neck, overwhelmed. So you're saying we lose everything? Just like that? Yes. Maya insisted, her voice rising. And it's not just the project. Your whole future with Laura is at stake. You need to address the rumors, but you also need to clear your name. Otherwise, it's over. He felt the walls of the building closing in on him. This wasn't just about the community center or their reputations, it was about everything he held dear. What do I even say? He breathed, the pressure building inside his chest. Then Maya hesitated, looking down for a brief moment. You have to confront the truth. You have to tell Laura everything she has a right to know. She might be your best chance to salvage this. Ethan's heart thudded painfully against his ribcage. He could already envision her reaction, the betrayal on her face. The thought of seeing her hurt tore him apart. But should he gamble everything on a lie staying hidden? He was standing at a crossroads. The moment of truth was here. What if Ethan began, his mind racing? What if I can still protect her while fixing this? I can't expect her to understand. I can't drag her into my mess. Do you really think she'll be better off not knowing? It's going to come out one way or another, Maya replied, her voice steady and unyielding. You either step up now, or everything falls apart. You choose. Ethan took a step back, feeling the weight of the choice he needed to make crashing down on him. There was a part of him that wanted to deny it all, to cling to the hope that things would resolve themselves. But deep down, he knew it was time to confront the mess he'd let grow unchecked. Let us get back inside, he said finally, squaring his shoulders. I can't hide anymore. With a nod from Maya and one last glance shared with Anna, he steeled himself, ready to face the crowd and the woman he loved. But as he took a step forward, uncertainty gnawed at him. Would Laura be able to forgive him when the full truth emerged? As they stepped into the gala, the room buzzed with curiosity. Would he find the strength to tell her what she needed to know, or would fear twist his words into something unrecognizable? And just then, he spotted Laura distracted in conversation, and his breath hitched. The fragile peace he hoped to restore felt daunting. But before he could reach her, a loud crash came from the direction of the stage, echoing through the chatter and laughter and drawing every gaze. What else would unravel before the night was over? Ethan's heart raced as he turned toward the sound, every pulse of his body urging him to run, to hide from the chaos erupting on stage. Glass shattered, and gasps punctuated the air like bullets. The crowd's focus shifted roughly, a tidal wave of curiosity washing over the gala as lanterns cast anxious shadows over their faces. He didn't even register Maya's hand on his arm, all he could see was the chaos at the front of the room where the MC was trying to regain control. But it was too late, the swell of whispers engulfed him. As he stood rooted in place, his mind turned in circles. What was supposed to be a night of hope now spiraled into one of desperation and fear. Laura stood among the throngs of guests, still blissfully chatting when the noise escalated. He could see her now, and his heart ached. She looked so bright, so full of life. How could he drag her down into this storm? Maya's voice broke through his spiral of thoughts. Ethan. We need to figure this out. He barely nodded, feeling almost like a ghost in his own body. Suddenly, the crowd roared, their expressions shifting from confusion to excitement. It was as though the party was alive, thrumming with an energy that left him breathless. He caught glimpses of the stage. The MC now had a mic in hand, but it was the words that escaped his lips that had everyone wrapped. And it turns out, it isn't just a financial scandal. We have a much juicier secret hiding beneath the surface. Could it be a love child? Ethan's stomach dropped, and the world around him blurred. He thought he might choke. Internal turmoil crashed around him as he processed the implications. Was this what they were saying about him? About his life? Was there some twisted connection he hadn't seen, a consequence of his silent struggle? He forced himself to take a breath, to shake off the fear that was creeping in with talons gripping his heart. But with each passing moment, everything felt more out of control. Whatever was happening at the stage ignited a fire in the room, and he prayed he wouldn't feel the flames licking at his back. Then he looked again at Laura, her face reflecting confusion as her eyes darted between the stage and the crowd. A sense of helplessness washed over him. It was time to act. He needed to push through these distractions and pull her away before whispers transformed into accusations. "Let us go," he said to Maya. "We need to find Laura." But the urgency in his voice felt hollow in light of the chaos unfolding. He could barely push through the crowd, the air thick with tension and sensationalism. Finally, he reached her side, grasping her elbow. "Laura, we need to talk." Her eyes brightened before the shadows of uncertainty clouded them. "Ethan. What is going on?" "Not here. Not now," he choked out, desperation lining his voice. The noise of the gala faded in the distance, and all he could focus on was the look of concern shaping her features. As he pulled her aside, everything in him screamed to keep it together. To trust that he could explain before the rumors swirled out of control and stunned expressions morphed into disbelief. "Just stay with me," he pleaded. "We need to address this before it gets worse." He knew they stood on the precipice of something monumental, a consequence of half-truths and misunderstandings that could turn life as they knew it upside down. With Laura at his side, ready to face reality, he felt a sliver of hope. However, the question loomed like a dark cloud: could they weather this together? Just as they found a quieter corner, another crash erupted from the stage. This time, an object was thrown, a projectile of panic sent into the audience. The gasps echoed. "Ethan, what is happening?" Laura demanded, fear etching deeper lines into her brow. He opened his mouth to reassure her, but the truth pressed just below the surface. And one thought consumed him: how much longer can he hide the real secret from her? With danger creeping before them, would Ethan be able to speak the truth in time? Or would the weight of silence drag them both down? The glass doors rattled as the tension in the room amplified. Ethan felt the crowd ripple with energy, their curiosity morphing into something almost predatory. Laura's eyes darted around, a whirlwind of concern painting her features. He could see she desired clarity in the storm of confusion. "Ethan, please," she pressed, her voice tinged with panic. "What is going on?" He took a deep breath, his mind racing. This wasn't just gossip, this was his life being dismantled in front of everyone he knew. How could he explain this mess? How could he make her understand the pressures he'd tried so hard to shield her from? "Laura," he started, the words catching in his throat. "It's not what you think. There's more to all of this than just rumors." "Then help me understand," she urged, stepping closer, her gaze piercing through the noise surrounding them. Just as he tried to gather his thoughts, the MC's voice boomed again, cutting through the chaos. "We've confirmed our suspicions. Ethan Grant, the CEO, and his secretary are in a scandal that will rock this charity to its core." Ethan cursed under his breath, his pulse quickening. Everyone around them was forgetting their fancy meals and social masks, fully absorbed in the unfolding drama. The whispers of betrayal and secrets were becoming tangible specters in the room. He could feel eyes boring into him, judging, hyperanalyzing every detail: the way he held Laura, the intensity in his gaze. He wasn't just a man under scrutiny, he was a centerpiece of gossip and scorn. "Ethan, tell me the truth," Laura pressed harder, her voice soft yet firm, pushing through the current of chaos. "You have to tell me now." He grasped her hands tight, willing his energy into her. I never wanted you mixed up in this. His voice was steady but edged with urgency. It's complicated. There are things about my past, things I haven't told you. Ethan searched her eyes, hoping she might see through the turmoil, hoping she could understand that he faced more than just public embarrassment. But he couldn't hide it any longer. His worst fears loomed closer, ready to engulf them both. Complicated? Is that what you call it? Her frustration peaked, yet he felt the hint of sadness beneath. You're making it sound like just another business deal, Ethan. A commotion at the stage drew their attention. A tall figure was now at the mic, someone brandishing documents that flashed like blades under the lights. The audience strained closer, intoxicated by this new twist. Anyone in this room would think twice, the figure declared, scanning the crowd, before crossing someone who has everything to gain and everything to lose. We are all here for the truth, aren't we? Ethan's heart sank. He had tried to separate his life, but the truth was relentless. It would come out. He could feel the walls closing in, and the heat of shame washed over him. He turned to Laura, desperation seeping from him. You have to believe me. Whatever they're saying, it's twisted. I don't know how this all happened. Before she could respond, the lights flickered, plunging them momentarily into darkness. Then, with a flicker, bright lights returned, revealing shocked faces and gasps of disbelief. At that very moment, he caught a glimpse of Maya in the distance. Her expression was a mix of shock and horror, confirming his worst fears. Ethan. Laura's voice broke through his thoughts. Tell me you didn't. No. You have to trust me. Ethan felt the weight of the room colliding around him, judgments, whispers, and eyes filled with an insatiable hunger for drama. If I don't explain this now, it could ruin everything. And I mean everything, Laura. He searched her face, searching for any sign of understanding, but uncertainty hung like fog between them. In that heavy silence, he realized just how precarious their situation was. Would she believe him? And just like that, the MC shouted once more, Ladies and gentlemen, brace yourselves. There's one last shocking revelation we need to unveil. Ethan's heart thundered as he braced himself for whatever scandal would reveal itself next. Would it shatter their lives, or could it finally bring out the truth he so desperately needed to confess? What could possibly be worse than what had already been laid bare? And as he turned back to Laura, he wondered, could their love survive the truth? The crowd gasped collectively, the sound like a tidal wave crashing against the shore. Ethan's heart raced, each beat sending a surge of panic coursing through his veins. The weight of everyone's eyes felt heavier than ever before, and Laura's face turned pale as she processed the revelation. The MC's voice echoed in his ears, each word slicing into him. Expecting a child, he mumbled under his breath, the bitterness in his throat rising like bile. All this time, you've been. Laura's voice trembled, barely above a whisper. She looked around as if seeking some escape from the storm of judgment bearing down on them. No. He reached out, tugging her closer, his desperation spilling into panic. It's not like that. I swear, Laura, it's all a misunderstanding. But his words fell flat against the weight of the revelation hanging in the air. How could he explain the truth behind Maya, the history that had been locked away, the choices he'd made to keep his professional and personal lives separate? Then what? Laura's voice cracked, her vulnerability cutting through him like a knife. You call this a misunderstanding? The entire room has turned into a courtroom. I know, he said, gripping her hands tighter, intensity pouring from him. But you have to trust me. This isn't what it seems. Maya was still standing at the mic, flanked by onlookers. Ethan couldn't shake the sight of her, the woman who had once been a chaotic presence that livened his office, now transformed into an announcement of calamity. He had to confront this now. "Laura, let me explain." "Explain what?" she shouted, voice rising above the din. "That you have a child on the way with your secretary." The room erupted into whispers, and he caught snippets of conversations. The once festive atmosphere felt like a dark cloud settling over them. He could hear people speculating, could almost feel the opinions being formed around them. Did you love her? Is that why he was so secretive? This is a classic power play gone wrong. No, it's not like that, he responded, frustration clawing at his insides. Maya is not the woman you think she is. We had a moment years ago that got tangled in a series of choices I regret. I tried to do the right thing. Laura's expression shifted slightly, one brow raised, skepticism carved into her features. A moment? And you didn't think to tell me? I was protecting you. He breathed, desperation twisting his stomach. I wanted to spare you from all this. Spare me? Her voice shook with disbelief. Spare me from the truth. You've only made it worse. He glanced back at Maya, who seemed to revel in the limelight, clutching the documents like a trophy. Could he ever find a way to set this right? Would he even get the chance? His eyes locked with Laura's, a silent plea raging between them. In that moment, time stood still, the world muffled around them. A clarity emerged from the chaos. He realized he wanted to fight for her, to make her see the unwavering truth despite the noise. Suddenly, the lights dimmed again, the attention shifting to the stage. Panic ignited in Ethan's chest. Not again. With a flourish, Maya produced another set of papers, brandishing them like evidence. We have proof. She looked around, daring anyone to challenge her, a smirk curving her lips. This ends now, Ethan thought, heart pounding. He had to confront whatever twisted game was being played. He turned back to Laura, urgency pulsing in every word. I'll make this right. I promise. I won't let her take you away from me. As he took a step forward, uncertainty shadowed his path. Would she follow him, or would he lose her to the ugly web that had ensnared them both? He glanced back at the stage. The MC's voice returned, booming once more. Ladies and gentlemen, the truth is often more unpredictable than we imagine, and we are about to plunge deeper into the depths of this exchange. What awaited them seemed impossible to navigate, but Ethan knew he had to face it head-on, if not for him, then for Laura, who deserved more than this betrayal. As the lights flickered again, his resolve hardened. What lay ahead could either tear them apart or bind them in ways neither of them expected. Ethan felt the weight of time compressing around him. The chaos of the crowd faded into a distant roar as he stepped toward the stage, intent on confronting Maya and reclaiming the narrative. Laura hesitated, her expression a mix of doubt and fear. He reached out, hoping the connection between them could hold strong enough to defy the storm surging around them. Laura, he said, his voice low and earnest, please don't walk away from me now. We can fight this together. But her eyes were locked on the stage, where Maya stood bathed in spotlight, holding the audience captive with her words. Ethan could almost feel the collective breath of the onlookers pressing against him, each gaze casting shades of judgment and confusion. The murmurs wrapped around him, a suffocating rope of expectation. I don't know if I can do this, Laura finally replied, her voice trembling. I thought I knew you, Ethan. But now, this. His heart raced. You know me. You know how hard I've worked to keep my life separate to protect you. That was always my priority. Protect me? She echoed bitterly. You mean lie to me? How could you think that keeping this from me was protecting me? Maya chimed in, her voice smooth and practiced. Oh, it must be difficult for you, Laura. Torn between the truth and the lies you thought were solid. Ethan clenched his fists at his sides. You don't get to twist this. You have no idea what we had. Laura turned to Maya, her eyes fierce. Stay out of this, Maya. This isn't about you. His heart leaped. For a moment, it felt like they were in sync, both fighting against the tidal wave threatening to drown them. But then Laura's gaze faltered, memories of their past unraveling in her mind, doubts creeping back. Does he love you? Maya taunted, her smirk widening. Can you really ask that after everything that's happened? Or should I present even more documents? Ethan's stomach churned. He didn't want to look at Laura now, he couldn't bear to see her heartbreak deepening. This isn't about love, Maya. It's about responsibility, choices I made years ago. Responsibility. Maya mocked with a laugh. You think that absolves you? An accidental pregnancy doesn't come with a disclaimer. The crowd leaned in, eyes hungry for more drama. He saw whispers spreading like wildfire, speculation feeding on the emotions unraveling in front of them. Ethan took a deep breath, forcing himself to clear his mind. Laura, he implored, stepping closer to her, you have to believe me. This is not how I wanted you to find out. I've been trying to protect you from this mess. I want us to work through it, together. Tears sparkled in Laura's eyes, a reflection of the pain slicing through them. Together. And just how do you expect that to happen after this? The MC's voice boomed again, trailing off into the hushed whispers. Ladies and gentlemen, we may witness history unfold tonight. Who will prevail in this battle of truths? Ethan felt the floor shift beneath him as Laura turned away, her shoulders trembling as she looked at the exit. The thought of her walking out of his life clawed at him. Laura. Please don't go, he begged, each word heavy with desperation. And then Maya, with that triumphant gleam in her eyes, raised her hands, silencing the crowd. Let us dig deeper, shall we? Because I have one final piece of evidence that will blow your minds. Ethan's heart hammered. Fear twisted inside him. What more could she have? The final revelation loomed like a dark cloud, ready to rain down chaos. Laura, I swear I will fix this. He shouted, reaching out for her one last time before everything changed forever. But would she be there when the truths unraveled, or had he already lost her to a past he couldn't change? The air in the room shifted, buzzing with anticipation as if the audience could sense the impending storm. Ethan's heart raced faster than ever. He could barely hear Maya's next words as they echoed around him. It felt like a weight was pressing against his chest. What I'm about to share, Maya began slowly, letting the suspense build, will change everything you think you know about your beloved Ethan. Laura was still standing there, her gaze unwavering. But the fire in her eyes flickered dangerously low, desperation creeping in. Ethan's thoughts erupted into a frantic whirlwind. He didn't think he could bear to let Maya expose any further secrets. Laura, he said again, trying to keep his voice steady, just trust me. Please. I never wanted any of this to come out like this. Maya was enjoying the moment. Oh, but truth has a way of emerging, doesn't it? A secret can only stay buried for so long. I have emails, texts, even photographs. She paused for dramatic effect, letting the words dangle in the air like a noose. Stop! Ethan shouted. This isn't a game. Lives are being torn apart because of you. But Maya only smiled, seemingly unfazed. Oh, Ethan. It's too late to stop the show now. The audience wants a climax, after all. That's when it happened. Out of nowhere, like a scene from a movie, the mid-size projector overhead flickered to life. Images splashed across the screen, indisputable evidence of the past Ethan had fought so hard to bury. Ushering whispers spread through the crowd, their eyes darting between the images projected and the unfolding drama before them. "Look at this," Maya said, pointing dramatically at the screen. A simple, innocent picnic, and then the next slide revealed Ethan, Laura at his side, their beaming smiles barely disguising deeper tensions from long ago. "No." Laura gasped, horror flooding her expression as she saw memories twisted into accusations. "Why are you doing this?" "I'm shining a light on the lies," Maya asserted, voice dripping with satisfaction. "You deserve to know who you're dealing with." Ethan stepped forward, feeling the anger boiling inside him. Wasn't he going to let Maya destroy everything he loved? Every photo, every message, those are just fragments of a past I've tried to be better than. "You think this makes you powerful? It makes you pathetic." The crowd shifted again, and Ethan could almost taste their growing curiosity. More whispers, more finger-pointing. They wanted the drama, they loved standing on the sidelines of someone else's pain. "Don't think you can scare me, Ethan," Maya shot back, trying to reassert control as she gestured toward Laura. "She deserves the truth every single bit." "She deserves compassion," Ethan countered, his voice fierce. "Not this manipulation." Laura's expression softened, just for a moment. She searched his eyes, searching for answers buried beneath layers of pain. Her voice trembled once more. "Ethan, what is the truth? What are you hiding?" If only he could pull her back in, shield her from the horror unraveling before them. He wanted to scream that he was still the man she knew, the man who loved her without reservation. But the air was so heavy. The moment slipped through his fingers. "Are you ready for the real show?" Maya sneered as she grabbed a folder, rustling the pages, each sound like an executioner's gavel. "Because this last piece reveals the true depth of your betrayal." Ethan's resolve wavered, a crack forming in his hope. Just then, a familiar face appeared in the back of the crowd. His heart sank. It was Claire, his former partner, with a look of determination as she pushed through the sea of onlookers. "Claire," he whispered, a mixture of relief and dread flooding through him. What did she know? Maya raised an eyebrow, curious. "Now we really might get to the heart of the matter, one TV. Let us see just how deep this rabbit hole goes." With Claire stepping into the glaring light, Ethan felt panic begin to churn again. Not just for himself, but for Laura. Could the truth push her even further away? And was he ready for what was about to come? The audience held its breath, ready for the next twist. What could he say now? "Claire, wait," he called, as the air crackled with tension. Would this reveal bring them closer, or would it finally tear them apart for good? Ethan stood there, heart racing, while the collective anticipation pulsed like a drumbeat through the crowd. Claire's expression was resolute as she stepped forward, cutting through the haze of anger and betrayal swirling around them like smoke. "Ethan," she called, her voice steady and unwavering, "you need to face this now. All of it." Laura shifted beside him, confusion and had etched into her features. "What do you mean, Claire?" Her voice trembled, and each word felt like it might shatter under the weight of the moment. Claire took a deep breath, her eyes meeting Ethan's. "I came here to tell you that you're not alone in all of this. There's more to the story than just the headlines." Maya's smirk faltered for a moment as she registered the shift. "And what do you think you can possibly add that would change anything? The truth is already out." Ethan's mind spun. "There's a truth behind the truth," he said, trying to anchor himself as he turned to face Laura. "This is what I've been afraid of, but I can't keep hiding. You deserve to know everything." The crowd shifted in their seats, curious, eyes flitting between each player in this unfolding drama. Ethan could practically hear the gears turning in their heads. Claire stepped closer, her voice softening. "Ethan was pulled into that darkness because he was trying to protect you, Laura. But there is something crucial you both need to understand. Maya scoffed. This sounds like a desperate attempt to salvage your reputation, Ethan. You think you can rewrite history? No, Ethan replied, his voice cutting through the tension. I just want to make sure Laura knows the truth, my truth. All of it. Laura stood motionless, taking it all in. The tension held her still as memories played across her face. Love, joy, and now confusion danced in her eyes. Please, just tell me. Ethan nodded, trying to rein in his nerves. There was an affair. It was wrong and it happened when I felt lost. But it's not what you think. It was a mistake that spiraled into more. The truth is I didn't even know myself anymore, and I was trying to navigate this path towards something better. Maya rushed in, her voice sharp. And the child, Ethan. That's not just a mistake, that's a life. What kind of person are you? His frustration peaked. I'm a person who made mistakes but is trying to fix them before it's too late. He turned to Laura once again, the resolve in his heart steadying. But Laura, the child is not some accident, it's part of the fallout from my foolishness. I was trying to keep you shielded from the consequences of my actions. Claire stepped forward, standing beside Ethan. And I'm here to show you that he is fighting for you, for your family. This can be fixed. Laura's eyes widened as raw emotion broke through. Can it be, though? It can be, Claire affirmed, glancing back at Maya as if to challenge her taunts. If you both decide to confront this together. The rumors are ugly, but the truth is what can heal. Ethan took Laura's hands in his, they felt warm but fragile. Please, give me a chance to show you how much I love you. I'll do anything for you. The community center was supposed to be a symbol of hope for us. Let us not let this greedy chaos tear us apart. Hope flickered in Laura's eyes, battling against the shadows of doubt. But it all feels so broken. Can we ever recover? Maybe we can find a way, Ethan said softly, if we face this together. I want to fight for us, for our life, our dreams. Promise me we'll at least try. As the audience remained still, caught in a moment of vulnerability, Maya stood frozen, her power evaporating. Ethan felt a surge of determination. The truth was hard, but it was also freeing. The tension in the room eased just a fraction, the audience now shifting with anticipation rather than judgment. But Maya grit her teeth, unwilling to let it fade. None of this will cover up the initial hurt, Ethan. You still need to face the consequences. Maybe, Ethan conceded, but I know who I want to face those consequences with. At that moment, he saw a glimmer of understanding in Laura's eyes. It was small, almost imperceptible, but it was there. I can't erase the past, he continued, voice steady, but we can create a future. Together. Everyone in the crowd felt the weight of his words, the power of a man standing before his wife, acknowledging his flaws yet battling for the love they once shared. The noise in the room became a soft hum as the audience absorbed this raw, unfiltered emotion. With a deep breath, Laura nodded, tears glistening on her cheeks. I still need time, Ethan. He squeezed her hands, a small smile breaking through. I'll wait as long as you need. I'll fight for you, for us, no matter what. And suddenly, the storm began to quiet. The weight of the truth was heavy, but it illuminated their way forward. In that moment, when everything felt poised to shatter, hope emerged, not a perfect ending, but an opening to a brighter path. Together, Laura whispered, her strength returning like the first light of dawn after a long night. And then, the crowd began to rise, a wave of applause breaking through, filled with encouragement for two people who had battled through the darkness to find a sliver of redemption. Because, in the end, love is worth fighting for. Now, all out there listening, if you felt the surge of emotion from this story, this is your moment to make your voice heard. Subscribe immediately to the channel so you don't miss the next exclusive stories that inspire us all. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and help this message reach those who need hope. Comment below with your reactions and feelings about the ending. How did it affect you? And please, share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. You need to show your support. Don't wait not even one more second.